has been shot and killed in Sancho this Thursday afternoon. The child was shot by a gendarme officer at the Sancho toll gate. And the 10 regional governors in Cameroon have been called upon to work towards peace and security in their various regions. The call was made by the Territorial boss, Minister Paul Atanganji. This and more in this newscast. Hello and welcome to High Prime of July 4, 2024. For presentation, I am Princess Alice Ikomilikia. We take on our first item. In 2023, a total of 877 billion francs CFA was generated from the oil and gas sector in Cameroon. This figure was made known by the Minister of Finance, Louis Paul Motaze, recently. This is happening at a time when the country's national refinery, Sonara, is yet to take off. Larry Kevin Etengene completes that story.
In 2023, the economy of Cameroon saw a remarkable increase in revenue of the oil sector as it hit an unprecedented 877 billion CFA francs coming from the decline of oil production following the inferno that took place at the national refinery company Sonara in Limbe. This figure surpasses the focus of 32 billion CFA francs as the Ministry of Finance elucidates. This remarkable increase can be attributed to a series of factors ranging from the increase in price of refined products. The large share of the 622.8 billion CFA francs came from royalties paid by the National Hydrocarbon Company, known in French as SNH, and the state gas-owned company in charge of oil and gas exploration, with taxes levied on oil companies contributed enormously to the additional amount of 254.2 billion CFA francs. Despite this interesting revenue collection, the report highlights a decline in the overall oil revenue of 96.8 billion CFA francs as compared to that of the previous years. The downturn is attributed to the drop in oil production, a factor made worse by the global energy environment. As financial experts note, the price hike in oil plays a vital role in the revenue increase in the economy of Cameroon. For the past 13 months, oil prices in the Cameroonian market surged by 41%, with a barrel of oil amounting to $70. This tremendous increase, compared with the drop in production, resulted in the net revenue increase despite the oil decline production in the economy of Cameroon.
The Minister of Justice, Keeper of the Sea, Laurent Esso, reveals corrupt scandals existing in his ministry. According to the Justice Minister, 865 magistrates out of 1,784 in Cameroon are under disciplinary investigation. He aims at identifying unprofessional practices and behaviors in his ministry. Aisha Banks completes that story.
Corruption in Cameroon is becoming an alarming call for concern. It was in front of senators that the Justice Minister revealed the corrupt scandals reigning in the internal and external services of his ministry. Greed in Parliament, Minister Laurent Esso discloses that 865 magistrates out of 1,784 in Cameroon are under disciplinary investigations. This declaration follows the preoccupations of senators on concerns raised about alarming corruption in this ministry. These disciplinary investigations aimed at identifying unprofessional practices and behaviors. In the meantime, the keeper of this news indicated that sanctions have been previewed and could extend to revocation of alleged corrupt magistrates if found guilty of the accusations against them. Further, as concerns the non-convocation of the Higher Judicial Council for about 4 years now, an SDF parliamentarian, Benitton Jiminy, had earlier recalled the Minister of Justice. This, which has rendered idle at least 5 badges of promoting magistrates. The parliamentarian also seeks to know from the minister why the higher judicial council that has to hold traditionally once a year has not been convened for the past 4 years. Rather, in response, what that came out from the minister was simply notes have been taken.
The senior divisional officer for MESAM, Simon Emily Moore, has chaired a security meeting with the different security and head of service elements in his division. This is based on the increase of separatist attacks in the area. He called on the population to work in close collaboration with the forces of law and order. High TV's Larry Kevin Etengene still on that beat.
The Mesam division in the northwest region of Cameroon that has been the pinnacle of separatist increased attacks nowadays has prompted the senior divisional officer to initiate for a security meeting that involves security operatives and service heads all across the division.
I can confirm that the security that prevailing is Mesam, or if you like it, the general situation in Mesam is under full control of administration. We are doing our best to secure our population and their property.
SDO Simon Emile Moore insists the security meeting have as aim to curb on the insecurity phenomenon that is gaining grounds in the division, as henceforth it won't be the case anymore.
The security meeting that we have just launched today, the coordination of this meeting is aimed to assess the situation that is prevailing in Mesam division during the past 6 months, and now to elaborate a strategy to reinforce some security measures. We are facing a lot of challenges because you know that some criminals are in town and harassing the population, mainly taxi drivers, and they're asking them to change their yellow color, which is inadmissible. We want just to reassure the population that all security measures have been taken to protect them and their property.
On his part, the divisional administrator calls on the entire Mesam division to be cooperative with the elements of law and order so as to revamp the division. On the dawn-to-dusk curfew that he placed on commercial motorbike riders, he elucidates the rationale behind his decision.
You know that last week bike riders did themselves a rally at the grandstand to condemn terrorism that they are facing because they have been infiltrated by some criminals who are operating with the motorbikes and harassing continuously our population, and we say we cannot accept it. That's why we signed a prefectural order prohibiting the circulation of motorbike from 6:30 p.m. to 6:30 a.m. in Bamenda town, I mean Bamenda 1, 2, and 3 subdivisions included. We do hope, and from what we have received, that all our populations, they are satisfied.
With the total cooperation being key during the Mesam divisional security meeting, all necessary security measures has been put into place so as to make the division of Mesam great again.
Territorial Administration Minister Paul Atanganji has called on the 10 regional governors to work towards ensuring peace and security in their various regions. This was during the opening of the first biannual governors conference in Yaoundé. The Minat boss warns political figures who are planning to stage problems as the 2025 general elections gain steam. Rita Mafani Mojoko reports.
Cameroon's Territorial Administration Minister Paul Atanganji during the opening of the first biannual Governors' Conclave in Yaoundé. The Minat's boss sends warning signals to politicians who plan to disrupt state civility as they prepare for the 2025 general elections.
I want to make it crystal clear that all political parties and associations are under the Ministry of Territorial Administration. No political activity shall be carried out nationwide without clearance from administrative authorities. Defaulters, regardless of their social ranking, will pay a heavy price for violating laws and regulations of the country. Any attempt to disrupt the electoral process today, tomorrow, shall be dealt with squarely. So no room will be given to soothsayers or preachers of doom who think that they master Cameroon better than the head of state. However, we encourage politicians to go about their activities in strict respect of state institutions.
With the high wave of deadly road accidents across the country with huge death toll registered, this worry was equally a preoccupation to Paul Atanganji. The Territorial Administration Minister equally gave a stern look at some commercial motorbike riders who are recalcitrant.
We have reported cases of recalcitrant bike riders who have refused to abide by laws and regulations. Among these categories, some of them have been arrested by the forces of law and order for aggravated theft, assaults, highway robbery, stabbing of customers, and kidnapping for ransom. Henceforth, culprits will be arrested and tried in competent courts.
Away from the 10 regional governors, some political figures and journalists were equally part of the deliberations as the different governors continue with their deliberations ahead of the 2025 general elections, as the governors' biannual conference will be coming to an end this Friday, 5th July 2024.
Let's now take a listen to some of the governors attending the conference.
The administration is functioning, the political leaders are active. For what concerns the Southwest region, activities, economic activities, socio-cultural activities, political activities are back to normalcy. Life is back to normalcy in Mayu. Life is back to normalcy in Lebialem, and the economic activities are booming.
We have meetings with the parties, the stakeholders, political stakeholders, to remind them of the peace which will be observed during the election.
We've had a good number of registered voters, more than 53,000 in the West region. I think we are very close enough to our target, which is 80,000 newly registered voters. I think the stakeholders, the political parties, they are very busy. The population are excited. They are looking for their ID cards to carry out this registration process.
We are working with the political actors to make sure that they respect the rules of the game, because before you protest, you have to first of all respect the rules of the game, and to be sure that they don't disturb or do anything that would hamper on the peace and unity that we have in the state as of now.
Different presidents of party are going to far north region to sensitize population. We have different congress have been held, but beyond all, the CPDM is the leader. And also we have the inscription of the electoral list have been increased. Student.
You are watching High Prime over High Television, and we are beaming live from our headquarters here at Start Malingo, Boya. A gendarme officer shot dead an 11-year-old boy this Thursday afternoon at the Sancho toll gate in the West region of Cameroon. The incident, which occurred while the gendarme was attempting to stop a private vehicle, has sparked outrage amongst the local population. Reports say the gendarme had asked the driver of a vehicle for papers of a bicycle that was on board. As the driver attempted to leave by starting the car, the gendarme fired a shot. The bullet went through the windscreen and struck the child in the head, killing him instantly. The Sancho community have been left in shock and anger. Details surrounding the incident remains limited, but local authorities are expected to launch an investigation to the circumstances that led to the shooting, and High TV will always be around to tell you what happened. Youth in the Northwest region have been called upon to be advocates of peace and development. This was during the launching ceremony of the Northwest Confederation of Youth Activities. This took place at the Reforms Overcome Church in Bamenda and was championed by the city mayor, Paul Achungbo. Rita Mafani Mojoko on that beat.
The youths of the Northwest region are out for the launch of activities for the Northwest Confederation of Youth Activities. The launch that started with a Thanksgiving service at the Reform Overcomers Chapel in Bamenda was attended by a cross-section of the population.
This tournament is going to bring all the youths and the youths in the Northwest region from all over the 7th division. We have 34 subdivision we have in the Northwest region. The divisional delegations, they have been selected and put in place to handle the various subdivisions in their division so that they can produce to us the various representatives from all these divisions to come and compete for this tournament at the level of the region. We have football, we have handball, we have athletics, we have traditional games, we have cross-country race, we have horse race, we have other sporting activities that have to do with people with disabilities, and at the end of the day we also have cultural activities as well. At the beginning we thought the tournament will run, the cash prizes will be 5 million, but after having so much intervention from elites all over who are calling to say they are very interested in it, even though they have not yet declared the amount that they are going to support us with, we believe that from what they have been saying to us, the cash prize can go up to 10 million for this entire tournament.
With football being a key factor for young people in Cameroon, the president of the Northwest chapter of the Cameroon National Youth Council says the football tournament that will be involving youths from all the 7 divisions in the Northwest region comes July 30, 2024.
And we want to call on other youth of this region to queue in. It will also interest you to know that since the upheavals started in this region, in the Southwest region, football is the only activity, only sector, only domain that has never been affected in any way, and we think that this region, which has remained at the hem of national competitions like the first division competition and second division competitions, should also be able to transit into the third-term holiday activities, having our youth from all the divisions coming to compete for the regional championship. It's an initiative that I've been wanting it to happen since.
To the Bamenda City Mayor, the summer football tournament that will be a remarkable turnout is an optimism of the future.
Championing is an issue of dialogue. It's an avenue for where the people, the youths of this region will come together, from Goketunja to Donga Mantum to Boyo to Menchum to Momo to Bezam. They all come together on the one playground and they will make new friends, get new ideas, and look forward with optimism to the future.
The curtain open ceremony was quite impressive, as youths from the 34 subdivisions that constitute the Northwest region will be a catalyst for peace, change and development.
Bamenda inhabitants living beside the Bamenda Regional Hospital have expressed their disappointment towards the mismanagement of waste around the area. This following huge heaps of garbage that are now mountainous and with the staunch smell coming from the piles of waste. Larry Kevin Etengene completes this newscast with that report.
Garbage heaps are now animating the streets of Bamenda. For instance, across the fence of the Bamenda Regional Hospital, it is a veritable mountainous garbage piles that will soon measure up with the Bamenda Regional Hospital fence. Moving away from this environment, let's take a walk across the Aziri Old Church Junction in the Bamenda 2 subdivision, where the situation is not different, as this unwanted neighbor emanates terrible stench to the local population.
As the city authority says that nobody block up for the drain go down. So as I block out, they said and I was saying they put an up down or inside for middle. They inside left middle to go down for side up.
Being troubled by the said stench, coupled with sewage coming from the said heaps of garbage to the newly constructed public toilet, some locals say they can no longer cope with the health hazards that these garbage piles cause. The huge size of waste that has now narrowed the roads to a one-way drive, thereby causing the risk of road accident that is impending. The local population are calling on the Bamenda City Council to do the needful, as though they are now been left on their own.
No, don't try for even try for say try for manage the team for the way we manage. I will not even try for manage the team. Don't even try for the government. Say me and them try for no manage even before.
With these veritable truths that ought not to be as neighbors to the Bamenda Regional Hospital, who's supposed to be living in a clean environment, but the opposite is quite true, as they are living in misery as a result of the stockpiles of wastes.
We have come to the end of this edition of High Prime, a take on our major stories before we leave. An 11-year-old boy has been shot and killed in Sancho this Thursday afternoon. The child was shot by a gendarme officer at the Sancho toll gate. We also got that the 10 regional governors in Cameroon have been called upon to work towards peace and security in their various regions. The call was made by the Territorial boss, Minister Paul Atanganje. Thanks for being part of this edition of High Prime. Join us again this Friday for another edition and stay tuned to High Television.